Hello berries, welcome to another Diablo 4 Sorcerer build guide, this time to do with Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning is the only element we haven't covered yet. I've already covered Frost and Fire. Do click on one of the videos down below if you're interested in any one of those other builds. And do subscribe if you want to have more Diablo 4 guide content, whether it's for different classes or in-game mechanical systems like enchanting and stuff. I'm planning on trying to cover as much as possible as I can during these couple of weekends. Like next week I'm looking forward to playing some Necromancer and Druid and stuff as well. So I'll try and make as many guide videos as I can. But back to the lightning builds. This is the kind of build that I used when leveling up my first Sorcerer. So this is my Sorcerer number 2, playing on hardcore, died to the world boss, but I was using lightning for the majority of that. If I go to my dead character, we can kind of see what kind of gear and stuff we had here. We were using ice armor, but I opted out of that for this specific build just to pump out some more damage, which I'll showcase in a second. But one of the things I did have on this character, which unfortunately I did not have on this one, and I've tried very hard to obtain for you guys, is the Chain Lightning has a chance to chain 2 additional times, and this is quite a nice little extra DPS buff, which I'm sadly missing out on, so I'm pretty sad I don't have that anymore. But yeah, that was a nice ability. Everything else I had on this is kind of generating like the crackling energy, which I'll go into. Increasing your movement speed by 15% was okay, nothing too crazy there. But generally what we have on this character is a lot more damage than that one now, which is missing on that Chain Lightning. Now I'm going to go through the skills, the items that I have that might, pop up and show up in the gameplay that we're doing. But this build is probably not hardcore safe. I'm going to showcase it on hardcore because I'm a bit crazy. If I die, then I die. This is why I left this build last, just in case it did die. But this build does a lot of damage. And I'll go through some of the things and my reasoning for behind some of the stuff, and some things in late game that you'll be able to add to this, and what kind of stat focus you want to have. So right off the bat, we're going to be taking Spark. There is another electric choice here in the basic, and it's Arc Lash. It's kind of melee. It's not great. I don't know why that's in the game, honestly. It's a melee frontal. It's pretty terrible. Do not recommend that at all in its current state, unless there's some augmentation with it in late game. I don't see us ever using Arc Clash, but you're going to want to use Spark as a ranged projectile. Does a decent amount of damage actually, and also with the extra little trees that we're going down here, we are going to eventually get, each time Spark hits an enemy, it has a 3% chance to form a crackling energy. Now crackling energy is, we'll see it when we kill stuff in a second, but there are these little balls of lightning. If you pick them up, you'll basically get some stacks building above where your XP bar is, and crackling energy well, basically, you do like little conduit damage to people near you. Sometimes it gets wasted on things that are immune, unfortunately, but it gives you like a slight extra DPS increase. But there's some fundamental electric mechanics that you need to learn with crackling energy, which we're going to go through a little bit later on into the skill tree. There is an item here as well, which I have, where crackling energy has a 52% chance to chain to an additional enemy. So there's a way to like make it spread out a little bit more. Unfortunately, I'm not using it. I'm going to use that staff for this because the damage on it is minus 160 below what my current staff is. So we won't be using that one. But if we progress further down the tree, so we're going down from Spark, we're going into Core now. In our Core, we're taking Chain Lightning. Surprise. And there is Charge Bolts, but Chain Lightning is much better. Charge Bolts is much more to do with stunning targets, and that's incredibly hard for us to do consistently right now because we don't have access to crit chance and able to roll specifically for crit chance. If you want to do a stunning build, which is possible with lightning, you need a lot of crit chance and a lot of lucky hit chance. But yeah, the crit chance is the main bottleneck. So charge bolts I do not recommend at the moment for leveling up. But in Chain Lightning, you get Chain Lightning has a 3% increased critical strike chance per bounce, so getting some crit chance there at least anyway. And then if Chain Lightning bounces off you, its next hit deals 25% increased damage. The main reason why we're taking this is because the Chain Lightning AoE damage is already generally pretty good, but the main problem bottleneck we've had in this build is single target damage. Now I've tried to fix that by taking Hydra, but as I said, it makes you very, very squishy, and we've only got 1 defensive, whereas the other Sorcerer builds we have 2 or more defensives to kind of cover our weakness of being quite squishy. But we'll go into that in a second. As you can see here in this defensive skill tree, but the only thing that I have is teleport. Fortunately, I didn't have to put a point in teleport because I've learned this automatically via one of my items. But yeah, teleport, didn't even put a point in it, but I got a point in it because I need to use it anyway. I would put a point in teleport if I didn't have access to this via items, but you don't want to put any points in extra. These extra things are kind of just wasted when we're already kind of starved on skill points. There's no reason to put points in there. So to enable us to keep going down the tree, we put 5 points in the Chain Lightning to be able to progress, and we've had to put an extra point in Spark to put that at 2 out of 5 in order to keep going down the tree. Now going into Conjuration, there are lots of things that we're going to want to put points in here. We've got our Lightning Spear, which is a Conjuration. Doesn't cost any mana to use and just gives us some extra damage boost. We're going to want to take Enhanced Lightning Spear. After critically striking, Lightning Spear gains 5% increased stacking critical strike chance for its duration, which will work with the lightning bounces that we were talking about on Chain Lightning. And collecting Crackling Energy increases the damage of your next Lightning Spear cast by 20% up to 100. So if you can manage to collect up to 5 Crackling Energy before casting Lightning Spear again, it's going to do 100% more damage, which is very, very nice. We've also gone into Hydra. 1 point in Hydra. While healthy, cast another cast of your Hydra, gain an additional head, which is a significant DPS boost. And we're going to be taking, after critically striking, your Hydras gain 30% critical strike chance for 3 seconds. So once again, that kind of helps with the Chain Lightning bounces that we're getting, where we're getting more crit chance per bounce. So ideally, we would have more crit chance in our gear. My crit chance overall is... My crit chance is 8.9%, so obviously I probably would want nearer to 15 to 20% with this build, but yes, we don't, for obvious reasons we can't access that. So lots of Conjuration in this build, and then we're going into Mastery. We're not taking Ball of Lightning because it costs way too much mana and we can't utilize that properly. So we're going into Static Discharge, where lucky hits, so critical strikes with shock skills, have a 10% chance to form a Crackling Energy. So that goes for 10%. We managed to put 2 points in this. You could maybe leave it on 1 point on this and put 2 points in the following one, where if you pick up Crackling Energy, you get 4 mana. So it helps us get a little bit more mana regeneration while we're running around. You could... It's up to you. I don't really know what the most optimized set of this. There's only 1 point, we can swap around, and it's either 1 out of 3 and then 2 out of 3, or 2 out of 3 then 1 out of 3. So yeah. And then going into our ultimate, the ultimate for electric is, in my opinion, the best out of all of them, better than the frost and the fire. Electric ultimate is Unstable Currents. Basically, whenever you cast a random lightning ability, a random shock skill, you are going to be casting a random core or conjuration or mastery shock skill. So there's going to be lots of lightning spears flowing around and chain lightning. And also putting more points into the tree of this increases your 25% attack speed, which means every time you're casting your left click, spark, it's mana free, but it's also going to be casting chain lightning and spears. So it's going to be absolute mayhem on your screen for the duration, for the 10 seconds it's up for. It's a very long cooldown though at 70 seconds, but very, very good on difficult to kill elites. Who the hell was that? And and bosses. And then we have Supreme Unstable Currents. While Unstable Currents is active, Crackling Energy continue pulses and consumes no charges. So ideally, you want to pop this and then quickly pick up a Crackling Energy, and then your Crackling Energy will do crazy amounts of damage as well. So it'd be the Crackling Energy and all the spells flying around. It gets pretty nuts. So there's going to be lots of lightning spam going on as we are playing. Now the skill assignment, we're going to want to have Chain Lightning. It basically means every time you spend 100 mana, you get a Chain Lightning for free. So guaranteed extra lightnings flying around. So more things spamming your screen, which is pretty fun, I guess. So now we're going to go into a dungeon and we're going to try and showcase the actual abilities that we have. So let's go to a dungeon here. I haven't done this dungeon before, so hopefully it's fine. New content while doing a guide. Once again, this is an extremely high risk build because you only have one defensive and that is your teleport, and you only have 1 point in teleport. You don't have anything else. So I am playing on hardcore. If I die, I die. But yeah. So number 1 is our teleport. Number 2 is the lightning spear. Number 3, I'm going to swap that around actually. So number 3 is Hydra. And number 4 is our ultimate. And then our right click is chain lightning. So we're going to pop the Hydra down. Let's pop the ultimate here. Just see how up against the boss mob. Pop the spear, that doesn't cost any mana. And you can just see how many lightning effects are flying around by just holding left click. It's kind of crazy. So that's the fun with the ultimate of this. And these little balls of lightning here, that's the crackling. So generally you're going to be wanting to pick those up. In terms of like actual legendary items interacting with this, apart from the extra bounces, let's go to this dungeon here, it's even closer. The lightning bounce is one that I'm going to miss out on probably the most. That one is pretty much mandatory for using this build. Like if you could pick up that item early, you might want to just move into the chain lightning build almost straight away. And then you have like some extra little ones with the crackling energy interactions, which are more minor, but the big one is the extra bounce charges. As you can see, like it bounces off stuff off of my screen. It's just kind of nuts on what it wants to do. So we'll pop the lightning spear. That helps out clear out some of the trash. You can see the lightning just kind of zipping away past me. And bounces onto me too. Every time it bounces onto me, the next reflect after that, I think it's an extra 15% damage increase. Alright, so we're entering into a boss round, so I'm just going to pop my ultimate, pop a couple of chain balls, pop a lightning spear, also hit. So you can see that the ultimate on this, on lightning, is by far the best in terms of actual raw damage output. So this is literally all about damage. I need to be very careful with my HP because, as I said, this is a not for the faint of heart kind of build. And with that Hydra, even though that Hydra is not lightning damage, it's worth having in the kit just to increase our single target damage. Just gives us even more damage. It only costs 20 mana just to whack it down, and we don't have to really think about it that much. Got some more mobs down here. My ultimate unfortunately is not ready. That's kind of scary. Please don't kill me, guys. So I'm having to kite back a lot with my autos. Got some lightning attacks coming up here. Got lightning spear, which is for free, which is my number 2. I don't like these guys teleporting on my face. Trying to get my left click off as much as possible. I'm vulnerable, which means I'm taking 20% more damage, and we're kind of chucking through our health potions a little bit here. Got my ultimate ready now. Just use that just to finish off these baddies. So don't get mixed up with the crackling energy with the purple orbs. That's for a quest that we're actually in here for. Those lightning ones at the back, those are crackling. And each one roughly gives us about 3 blobs. Alright, let's open this door. I hope there's a big scary boss at the end of here which is going to kill me, but hopefully we can show off the damage potential output on this. I think this build would be quite good if you're in a group and you have like maybe someone else in your team that can do a little bit more survivability stuff, a bit more crowd control. Like say if, for example, your friend is a frost mage, I think you would be able to complement that quite nicely. with the amount of raw damage you can output, and then you know you can generally play pretty crazy, knowing that you know the enemies that you're fighting are generally going to be crowd controlled most of the time. Oh, I accidentally just popped my ulti. No problem, we just need to hit as many things as possible to spam more abilities. But you can see it's a pretty fun build if you're playing on normal and not hardcore. It's definitely a lot more fun because you don't have to worry about dying so much. But yeah, not for the faint of heart if you're playing on hardcore for sure. Right, so I need to bring a statue back to that pedestal. No problem, we can do that. I think fortunately with like my build as well, I've got some decent armor pieces which are making me quite, you know, a bit more tankier than you necessarily would be at level 25, especially entering level 25. Like I've got a few upgraded pieces and armor level. I've got a really nice tanky helmet that I'm currently using. Okay, I got my ultimate. There seems to be a boss here, but we can just say hold left click, throw out the occasional fire, you know, chain lightning, and not have to worry about stuff too much. But it's pretty fun just seeing, like, you know, your lightning bolt, chain lightning bolt, and it just like zips off. Oh, we've got infinite mana, massive cooldown reduction as well, so we can pop our ulti again. Let's just zap everything. Zap, 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 zap. Apparently the chalice we need is right here. But it is kind of crazy like how far it clears. Like there's stuff that I can't even see in my screen that just gets zapped away. So it's pretty fun to use. Alright, let's see how we do down here. Interact with the frozen heart. I'm sure nothing bad will come of this, right? Slay 30 enemies protecting. Let's pop a lightning spear. Keep kind of moving around, like move, cast, move, cast. Pick up the crackling whenever they spawn. So a bit more moving around on this build compared to something like the fire incinerate build where you literally just basically just stand still most of the time. Alright, big boss time. Let's see how we do against single target with our ultimate. Well, wasn't a big boss, but that guy just, that's what, he died in a second, literally a second. If it was a big boss, then it would have been big damage. But that's the potential of the chain lightning build. As I said before, generally you're going to want more crit chance when focusing on lightning. When you're going into fire, you don't necessarily have to focus so much on crit, because damage over time doesn't actually crit. So lightning, there's lots of lightning things that involve crit. There are some things in fire that you can go into a crit build with, so you would have to like take certain crit abilities, like with fireball, it would be like a fireball crit build. If you do want to go from like lightning to fireball, or vice versa, there is a route to do that if you have high crit chance. But if you're doing like damage over time with like incinerate, you're not going to be able to go cross over into anything else really, actually. So you're kind of stuck in incinerate or maybe like a firewall build or something of the mixture of the two if you go damage over time on sorcerer. If you want to switch into frost, if you go for like a crit lightning build with stunning and you have like buffs on your gear that enhance it when the enemy's crowd control, that could work. Crossing over from frost into a crit lightning build. So yeah, there is some like there's lots of different crit paths to go in sorcerer. and a little bit more freedom if you opt into crit and crowd control stuff. Those two seem to go well together, whereas damage over time, you're kind of hard setting yourself into like incinerate or firewall, or like in generally just fire stuff in general. Really, there isn't really any damage over the time lightning stuff or frost stuff. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the lightning build and the lightning guide. I hope it gives you some sort of guidance of the direction of where late game could end up being. And yeah, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will make more Diablo 4 videos. Yeah, all the best. Take care. Bye.